So I was watching Fight Club, and they're in the subway, and Brad Pitt's starting to act all Brad Pitty, and he's like,
Self-improvement is masturbation, not self-destruction.
self-destruction. So yeah, it's really just got me thinking about how much my opinion has changed when it comes to this term of like self-improvement. Because if you would have asked me about it a few years ago, I've been like, yeah, self-improvement's a good thing. Self-improvement's the best thing. I invented self-improvement. You think you can self-improve, you can't self-improve. Sorry, you're dumb. And it's become this term that only the cringiest of people, the cringiest of society fucking talks about.
Gotta go harder.
I was addicted to getting mentally strong.
You can manifest anything instantly.
I always thought that my daughter was my grandmother reincarnated.
Men need the pain. Men need the trauma.
Don't rely on happiness from the person you date.
And if you met them in real life, like they're nothing like they portray themselves online. And they're all trying to sell you something, and it's bullshit. So yeah, I got beef with self-improvement. But it's not like it's a bad thing in any way. I just think that there's something that's like 100 times better. Self-destruction, bro. Self-destruction, bro. Self-destruction, bro. So yeah, I probably need to explain a little bit about what I mean before a couple of you guys premature comment like you're premature. Never mind. Like, I'm not advocating for violence against yourself or anybody else, but there's some crazy similarities between the writing in Fight Club and then spirituality and enlightenment. Because when I'm saying things like self-destruction, all I'm talking about is the destruction of the false self. The parasite that has attached itself to your fucking brain and is draining your entire life force. And this is making you walk around like a fucking zombie in this derp state constantly. And look, I'm not saying that I'm any better, but we're all fucked if we don't start trying to consciously work on this shit together. Okay, so what the hell is this false self even? Like, what is this parasite? Well, the truth is more frightening than you ever imagined. To answer that question, I need to ask you another question. And that question is, who are you? Okay, so seriously, take a second to think about this. Who are you? I want you to give me your actual response. Okay, what would you actually say? If I asked you the question, I went straight up to you and I said, yeah, you. You. Who are you? Okay? What comes to mind? Because what I'm not talking about are the things that you most likely just said. Because you most likely said something along the lines of your name, right? My name's Parker. Your age, how old you are, your occupation, what you do for a living, your gender, your sexual orientation, your political affiliation, your religion, your height, your weight, your likes, your dislikes, etc., etc., etc. Okay, these are all the attributes that we normally tend to identify with. But that's not what I'm actually talking about, okay? Because you are absolutely none of these things. You're none of them, okay? So, first and foremost, you're not your body. Okay, you're not just your physical body. If I asked you, okay, if I'm talking to me right now, I'm looking at me in the camera, I'm saying, "Hey Parker, who are you?" Okay, I'm not this. Right? That's silly. Like if I was to say, "Hey Parker, like point to where you are," I'm not going to point to my foot, Maybe you did, weirdo. You're also not your mind. A lot of people identify with the mind, right? Most people can break out of this paradigm of identifying with the body, and then comes the mind, and the mind can be a little bit more difficult and more tricky to break out of because we're so wrapped up in our thoughts all the time. We're so wrapped up in our emotions. But if it changes, then that can't be you. And if you can identify it, then that can't be you either, right? So when it comes to your body changes. You didn't have the same body when you were an infant fresh out of the womb as you do now, right? And your mind changes too. Okay, you didn't have the same opinions as you did when you were a 12-year-old. You didn't have the same thoughts. You didn't even have the same thoughts as you did when you woke up this morning. Okay, so your thoughts change. And you can also listen to your thoughts. You can identify your thoughts. So you can't be your thoughts. You can't be your mind either. Your mind changes all the goddamn time. Okay, and this is one of the big problems that we have. This is why so many of us experience pain, experience fear. Okay, it's our mind playing all these tricks on us, our mind telling us things. But we're not our mind, and we're especially not our body. Okay, so who are you? Who are you? Okay, keep running this through your head. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Okay, because the more that you do this, there's really only one logical answer that you're going to come up with. Okay, there's only one. And it's pretty simple. It's I am me. I am me. Okay. What the hell does that even mean? Okay, so I want you to pay attention to the voice that's in your head that's sort of been scrambling to find this answer to who you are, right? I keep pestering you and I'm saying, who are you? 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 Right? There's something going on in your head. You're probably like, okay, this guy's a fucking crazy person. You might be saying that. You might be being like, okay, who am I actually, right? There's this voice going on in your head. You think that it's you. Okay, you think right now that I'm talking to you and that voice is you as well. Okay, and if right now you're like, Parker, what the hell are you talking about? What voice inside of my head? That's the voice that I'm talking about. This inner dialogue that we all have. Okay, I'm about to go on a tangent here, so I want to have a little structure in this, and that's why I did the slides. But I want you to realize that this voice is not you. This inner dialogue is absolutely not you. Remember, it can't be you if it changes. Your inner dialogue changes all the time. It changes constantly. The stories that you tell yourself, they change constantly. Your personality changes constantly. A lot of people's personalities just change with the wind. They change based off of the person that you're communicating with, the people that you're with, the video that you're watching, the time of the day. Okay, these things change constantly, and a lot of the times your inner dialogue, it separates and it breaks into two. They're sometimes arguing with each other. Okay, have you ever had this time or experience in your life? And you know, the answer is, of course, yes. It happens hundreds of times during the day. Like once we break into this a little bit more and I explain it further, you start to realize how much this inner dialogue consumes every aspect of your life. Okay, but have you ever had this experience where maybe you're just going about your day and something, you notice something happen, and then you get down on yourself and you say, oh, you know, why are you like this? Or, you know, I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't do this. I should do X, Y, Z. I could be this. I could be better, right? And then you have another inner dialogue that pops up and it's like, no, Parker, be positive. No, just be positive. Right? And if you're positive, then this is all going to be okay. Remember, I'm trying to build up my self-image, my self-esteem. All I have to do is think positively. And then you have these two inner dialogues basically bickering at each other and going back and forth. And you think that that's you. Okay, you've never stopped to identify who you truly are. We get wrapped up in this identity of the inner dialogue, but we need to completely separate ourselves from this inner dialogue and come to an understanding of who we are. Okay, so when the voice tries to answer this question of who are you with I am me, okay, when I ask you who are you and you say I am me, that is not you. That's just your inner dialogue. That's just your mind. That's just something that's completely outside of yourself. Okay. Now, this is something that took me years to fully grasp and fully understand. I've been studying, aspects of spirituality and different religions for years and years and years and years. Okay. I was raised up in sort of like a culty environment for the first 16 years of my life. And then once I found out that that wasn't the truth and sort of broke free from that, spirituality became a major aspect in my life. And although I saw this on the surface level, I never fully bought in. I could never fully comprehend what it meant and what all these spiritual gurus were telling me. And so what I want to do is kind of have a channel here where I break down like the dummy's guide to spirituality, the dummy's guide to feeling absolute bliss and ecstasy and pleasure through understanding this, because just the logical understanding of who you are is going to bring you so much fucking peace of mind that, that's what I want to make this all about. Okay. So let's keep going into this, because you are not that voice. You are not that inner dialogue. And that inner dialogue, that inner voice or voices, that's what's to blame for all of your problems, all of your suffering, all of your anxieties, all of your fear. Okay? This is literally the entire problem. Okay? You may think that you have all these external issues, all these external problems. You might think that you have anxiety. You might think that, you're depressed. You might think that you're a piece of shit. You might think that you have anger issues. You might think that you're just a fucking loser. Okay? But all of these are just band-aids and just terms that are masking the true underlying issue, which is you don't know who you are. That's the true issue. So I want you to ask yourself if this sounds familiar. So it's like, shit, everyone's staring at me. Okay, I shouldn't have said that. That was so stupid. This is so embarrassing. The rest of this night is ruined. Okay, nobody's going to want to talk to me. They probably think I'm weird, etc., 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 right? The list can go on and on and on. And this is your inner dialogue speaking, right? You didn't want this to happen. You didn't have a desire or make it a goal to be thinking these thoughts or to be feeling these emotions, yet they showed up, okay? And we tend to believe that these emotions and this inner dialogue that's telling us these things is actually us, but that couldn't be further from the truth. So in case you haven't noticed, you have a mental dialogue going on inside your head that never stops. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're saying what inner dialogue, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, this dude, the fucking words popping up like this is so annoying. I gotta change that. Okay, the voice might not even be trying, it might even be trying to protect itself right now. Okay, the voice, the inner dialogue might be saying, this is stupid, this video's dumb, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. The voice is me. It is me. This shit is me. I swear. I'm not this separate thing. I'm not this separate entity. That's too weird, right? Nobody talks about that. That's so strange. I've never heard that before. How could this be true? This couldn't be true. No, it can't be true, right? And that inner dialogue is so fucking insecure that it's trying to hold on to, it's trying to grasp onto any type of leaf and branch that it possibly can right now. Okay, if you're hearing it talk, then that's obviously not you. It's obviously not you. If you can hear it going on, if you're aware of it happening, if you're listening to it, then that's not you. Okay? You are the one that hears the voice. You are the one who notices that it is talking. Okay, that's you. That's truly who you are. Okay, so you do hear it when it talks, don't you? You can hear it talking right now, can't you? Okay, so let's make it say hello right now. Okay, right now, make that voice say hello. Okay, you heard it. Now, make it say hello over and over again a few times. You're hearing it, aren't you? Okay, now shout it. Shout hello. Make it shout hello. Okay. So, can you hear yourself saying hello inside? Hell yeah, of course you can. Okay, so there is a voice talking, and then there is you who notices the voice talking. There is an inner dialogue that you have somewhat a little bit of control over. And then there's you who can hear it talking. Sometimes this inner dialogue completely takes over control. It makes you overthink absolutely everything. And you're wondering how you can get it to shut up. And then sometimes you can have a little bit of presence in your life, and you can be watching a video like this where I'm actually telling you what to do, where I'm the one directing your actions. And so, yeah, maybe you can have your thoughts quiet down just for a tad bit, just for a few seconds, in order to really quiet it down, to listen and have that authority and free will to make it say hello. But you notice this. You notice this separation. Okay, so here's a little example. Let's suppose that you were looking at 3 different objects here. Okay, there's a football, there's a plant, and then there's a hat. Okay, so check out these 3 separate objects. So suppose that you're looking at them, And I want you to ask yourself, which of these objects is you? Okay, out of the football, out of the plant, and out of the hat, which of these three objects would you say is you? Okay, it's not a trick question. Because what you'd say is that none of them are you. Okay, you'd say that I'm the one who's looking at what you're putting in front of me. Okay, it doesn't matter what you put in front of me. It doesn't matter if you put a house, a computer, a microphone, a hat. It doesn't matter what you put in front of me. It's always going to be me looking at it. Start consciously being aware how often your inner dialogue has complete and utter control over you. How it just goes off on the most wildest and stupid tangents. How it makes up these wild, crazy stories that you think is real and just makes you overthink absolutely everything and wastes your entire day. Start getting very, very clear and very, very familiar with this inner roommate that you have. And you will start to realize how sick of it you become. It doesn't shut up. This inner roommate never shuts up, and it wastes 99% of your day. Okay, right now you may be a little bit conscious of it, but after this video, it's going to be very, very important to be consciously aware of this inner roommate, consciously aware of all of these thought patterns that it starts trying to bring up. And all you need to do is understand that you are separate from that inner roommate. You are separate from that inner dialogue that's telling you that, you know, little Stacy over there fucking thinks you're a loser, right? She's out to get you. Nobody likes you, right? That you're not going to get that job promotion, that you're not good enough, that your wife is actually sleeping with Bob behind your back, right? Maybe she is, who knows? Start to recognize how many times this inner dialogue and this inner roommate makes up the most outlandish shit. Recognize it. Recognize that you are separate from it. And all you have to do is watch it. Okay? You don't have to judge it. You don't have to try to change it either. Okay? This is where a lot of people end up getting mixed up. A lot of times when you're like, oh, I'm anxious, or oh, I want to change myself. I want to self-improve, right? Now we're getting back to the actual video. I want to self-improve. What ends up happening is you're saying, I want to self-improve my inner dialogue. No. Stop trying to self-improve your inner dialogue. Stop trying to improve your self-esteem. Stop trying to improve your self-image. We want to self-destruct, as Tyler Durden says. We want to self-destruct. Self-destruction, bro. Self-destruction, bro. And self-destruction is destructing this false self that we believe is us. And by separating that false self from the true us, which is simply the observer, it's simply the watcher of the inner workings of our mind, of the thoughts, of the feelings. Simply become the watcher of these things. Destroy the false self. Shatter the identification with the voices inside of your head, and just watch. Don't try to change them. And as you watch, you will go into something called neutral attention, which actually ends up washing away the emotions, washing away the thoughts. Okay? You can't be like, no, go away. I don't want these thoughts. These thoughts are negative, because whatever you resist persists. Instead, you just watch it as the observer, and it will naturally pass through you. Okay, there's hours and hours more that I want to talk about, and I can't get into it in this video, but I really truly hope that you enjoyed this idea and the difference from self-improvement, which is trying to improve the voice inside of your head, the voices inside of your head to become a positive person, right? Which, you know, it can happen. It just takes years and years and years and years and years. And most people really truly just don't understand how little free will you fucking have. It's one of the most terrifying things to really understand at first. Like, you have far, far less free will than you ever imagined. It's a terrifying thing. But you can also start to let go and surrender to that idea. And when you start to surrender to that idea and give it up to God, the universe, good vibes, flying spaghetti monster, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that's when everything starts to subside and you start to experience presence. Okay, this is what self-destruction is. Self-destruction of the inner dialogue, self-destruction of the inner voices. And it's bliss. It's ecstasy. Imagine being able to walk around when you don't have all of these voices telling you all of these past stories of your past experiences, your past negative experiences, telling you why you can't do something. It's just quiet. It's just quiet. It's incredible. And so that's the difference between self-improvement and self-destruction, and why I personally believe self-destruction is better. Thanks.